Hello there, and welcome to another special edition of Art Attack, featuring some of my personal favourite art attacks that we've done together over the last few years. Now, it's very difficult for me to single out one particular art attack as my all-time favourite, because we've done so many. However, the one art attack which I know is a lot of people's favourite is when we made envelopes out of old comics. How do I know? Because within a week of that programme being shown, I'd received sackloads of letters and pictures in envelopes made out of old comics. Whatever you do, don't throw away your old comics. Come and have a look at this. Take an envelope and carefully tear apart the glued joints. Open it out and then mark along the edges where the glue was. Just put that to one side. Bring in a coloured double-page spread from your favourite comic. Put the envelope back on top and then just carefully use it as a pattern to draw around the edge onto your comic. It doesn't matter which side of the comic you draw on, but we'll be using the coloured side. Although you can use the black and white side. In fact, you could do this on newspaper, wallpaper, any type of paper. There it is, and you have that pattern. Cut that out, and you'll have something that looks like that. Then fold it back again, like the original envelope, same places, down that side, and that flap there, and then mark with an X on the same lines as those glued edges on your original envelope, and then put some glue on those edges. The reason I've marked them is so I know which ones to put glue on. Fold them over, stick them down, and there you have a multicoloured comic strip envelope. Looks brilliant, doesn't it? And let's face it, if that came through your letterbox, it'd certainly give your eyeballs a shock. But I haven't finished yet. You can also make some great greetings cards to go inside the envelopes. Make a card out of thin card or thick paper and make it so it's the right size to go inside the envelope. And on the front, stick a picture from your comic, preferably a big picture so it covers almost the whole of the front of your card. And then take a piece of paper and draw on it 2 speech bubbles or balloons. Just draw them roughly because you're going to cut them out so you have a shape that looks something like that. And put a dab of glue on the back. And again, you can do it more carefully than I am. I'm just doing it quickly to show you. And just stick it on the front of your card with a speech bubble coming out of the character's mouth. And then you can take a black felt tip pen and just carefully go around the edges of your speech bubble. Just down the side there, so it looks like it's coming out your character's mouth. And just to give it a professional finish, go around the outside of your card. You can use a ruler. Doesn't matter if the lines aren't that straight, because they're not usually that straight in comics. They're usually zany and rather wacky. And then use the speech bubble to write the message on the front of your card, and the address on the front of your envelope. And there you have a multicoloured comic strip, card and matching envelope. One of my favourite big art attacks was, in fact, the biggest one I've ever done. Do you remember it? Well, it was on a misty morning a couple of years ago, and I had to recruit the help of some of my pals and ask them to perform some nifty driving. And what did I use to create the picture? 20 black, shiny, new cars and over 400 traffic cones. Oh yeah, and I was the one on the bike. Ah. behind him, and you behind him. Plenty of that, and more around the corner like that. Not all over the joint. You two over there. All right, this is the one. Go for it!
One of my favourite art attacks, and we've done it many times in many different ways, is drawing faces. Now, I know faces are one of those things that sometimes we go, oh no, I can't do that. Well, I think it's a lot easier if you break the face up into all its different bits and practice them one by one. And there are lots of different ways to do this. Do you remember this one?
Do you enjoy drawing faces but have difficulty with the hard parts like the eyes, the nose, the mouth? Well, try one of these. It's a peephole. Brilliant for helping you draw those difficult parts of a face. All you need is a sheet of paper, cut a hole in the middle, any shape or size that you like, and then take a photograph of a face from a magazine, or one of yourself if you've got one, and simply scan the photograph, and through the peephole, put the bit that you want to draw. Now I'm going to try an eye. Then you take this. This is the bit that you cut out from the peephole, lie it right next to your peephole, and it's simply a case of copying exactly what you can see through the peephole onto your cut-out piece of paper. I'm going to start here with the shape of the eye. Now, this is a brilliant method. It really works. It helps you draw those parts that you might find a bit difficult to do. And the reason it works is because it draws your attention right into the centre of what's in the peephole. So, all we're seeing at the moment is the eye, and we're forgetting about the rest of the face. Of course, you don't have to do the eye. You can do any part you like. There it is, got all the flesh colour in there. And it's roughly got the shape of the eye. It doesn't matter if you go over onto this part of the paper. There it is, there's the shape. Now I'm going to put this shading in. You can see this line down here. Just draw exactly what you see through the peephole. In fact, sometimes you even forget that you're drawing the part of a face. And that's the whole idea. Just bring that shading round there, a bit in shadow there. So I'll put that in. Now, the eye itself, I'll do that again in brown. There it is, the eyelashes. Nice dark brown for them. Just around the edge. And around the top, they're a bit darker, so I'll press harder. And I'm just drawing exactly what I can see through the peephole. Now, the good bit, the middle of the eye. So I'm just going to do around the edge of the iris, make it nice and black. Just usually have a black ring around the edge. And then the colour of the iris itself, make that a nice blue. There it goes. Just drawing exactly what I can see through that peephole. And then the middle bit, which is the pupil, great tip this, always put those shiny bits right on the edge of the pupil because it gives you drawing life. There it is. And a little bit of, looks like bloodshot corner there. Probably tired eyes. And a little bit of shading just around the edge of the eye. And there it is. Not a bad job, even though I say so myself. And of course, you can take away your peephole, put your picture over the top, just to see how good it really is. Try it yourself. Pick any part of the face, give yourself a peephole attack. Now, I've always said you can make pictures out of almost anything. And, you know, a lot of people ask me where I get my ideas from for the big art attacks. Well, the truth is, almost anywhere. In fact, the idea for one of my favourite big art attacks came to me a couple of years ago when I was just about to go on holiday. And there I was at the airport with all my family and all our luggage. And guess what?
Yep, the flight was delayed. We sat around on our luggage for hours, really miserable and really bored. But you know, it wasn't so bad after all, because it gave me the idea for this big art attack.
Would a representative from Global and Overland please contact airport information? A representative from Global and Overland to airport information.
You know, I have to laugh sometimes. I go into an art shop, I take a look round, and the shelves are absolutely full of expensive, fancy art materials. Sometimes there are even people buying hundreds of pounds worth of art equipment, specialist paints, fancy brushes. It doesn't make you a better artist. I think art's all about having fun, being creative, throwing away the rule books and doing your own thing, using anything you can lay your hands on. Now, this is one of my favourite art attacks, painting the art attack way.
My name's Jane, and I scrape paint across the paper with a piece of serrated card to make this effect of a volcano. My name is Nuala, and I have done a picture of the bridge using cardboard tools and paint. Hello, my name's Gemma, and this is a painting of a forest. I did my tree effect by twisting my card from side to side.
Ah, great pictures. And what a good idea, using cardboard as a tool to paint with. Now, this technique reminds me of the technique of the old masters many years ago, the way they used to paint with palette knives. And they used to just smear their paint literally thickly across their paper using a knife. Now, they would probably have used oil paint. I'm just using ordinary poster paint and acrylic paint that I've just squeezed straight from the bottle. Try it yourself. A card painting. I've noticed something, you know. My personal favourite art attacks all have one thing in common. They actually make me smile. Now, it could be that they make me smile because I'm really pleased because it looks so good and it's a good idea, or it might make me smile because it's really funny. But what happens when you put the two together? Something that's a great idea, which looks good, which is also very funny. Well, that's what this next art attack is. What you need to do is blow up a balloon roughly the same size as your head and then place it in a plant pot or a jug or something to hold it with the tied end down. And then mix some PVA glue and water in equal parts and just tear some strips of newspaper, dab them into your glue and then just literally slop them onto the top of the balloon like that, and you can just dab them down with a brush. And the idea is to cover the top 2/3 of your balloon in newspaper. Now, it's always a good idea to cover it in about 4 layers of newspaper or papier-mâché. I'll give you a tip on that. If you do a layer of newspaper and then a layer of magazine, you'll know how many layers you've actually done. And when you've covered the top 2/3 of your balloon, I'll just do that to show you, leave it to one side to dry overnight. And when it's dry, it'll look something like that. And then it's just a case. Now, this is the bit I always dread. Pop in the balloon. Wait for this. 1, 2, 3. That's better. And just take out the balloon there like that, and you're left with what looks like half a bowl. And you can always just trim off those rough edges there just to neaten it up a little bit. And then just put your bowl to one side and take 2 polystyrene cups. And just watch this carefully. If you stick your thumb into the side at the bottom of one of the cups and then rip the bottom off like that. I'll just do that again to show you. There's the cup. Thumb into the side and tear the bottom off like that. And then if you place the 2 cups together, then your bowl should hopefully sit neatly between the 2 cups. You can do it a bit neater than I've done there. I've just done it quickly to show you. And then tape your bowl onto your cups. Again, I'm just doing it very quickly. And then just put some papier-mâché all over your cups. Again, 4 layers. And you can see it can be a bit of a struggle and a fight, but we get there in the end. Cover it in 4 layers of papier-mâché and then leave that to dry overnight. And when that's dry, you'll have something that looks like that. And you notice it's gone hard and stiff here. That's very good. And it looks a bit like a pair of trousers, doesn't it? Well, that's exactly what it is. And you notice here what I've done is I've built up about 2 centimetres around the top, made it nice and thick, and around about 2 centimetres at each of the legs down at the bottom for turn-ups. And then if you paint on your detail of your trousers using acrylic paint or poster paint or powder paint, you can design your trousers however you like. Now I'm going to just do blue paint, just slop it on here and turn my trousers into a pair of blue jeans. And yeah, and just slop it on to show you. And it's a good idea when you've actually put on your base colour that if you leave that to dry overnight and then next day you can add on bags more detail. You see what I've done here? I've painted on a brown belt and I've even done a sort of gold buckle on the belt with one of those gold pens. If you see here, I've put in lots of little detail with a very fine black felt tip pen. Just put the stitching on there. And the more detail you put on, the better it looks. And what do you use them for? Well, they make great bowls, and you can stick just about anything inside them. You might like to stick in some flowers, like that, make a good present. Or you could stick in crisps and use them for party bowls. And what about keeping all your art materials in there? And this is my favourite, sweets. Try it yourself. Papier-mâché balloon trousers. And one more thing before I go. I really like this one as well.